guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Watch These Films. I'm your host, Bianca Barnett. Okay, this week I'm reviewing a movie that a lot of you have probably heard of or have seen. It's called Maniac, filmed in 1980, directed by William Lustig, co-written, co-produced, and starring Joe Spinell. Joe plays a character called Frank Zito, who has the ultimate mommy issues. He is a serial killer who goes around New York scalping women, mostly prostitutes. It's killing them and then mutilating them and taking their scalps. He brings them home and hammers them onto a mannequin, which he sleeps with. I don't know if he has sex with it, but he sleeps with it. And he carries on one-sided conversations. It's very creepy, but you know, sometimes you gotta do what you do when you live alone. This is a slasher film, like I said, in New York, set in New York City. It's more almost of a cerebral type film, like a character study almost, rather than the typical popular slasher films that have more of a supernatural edge, almost like the later Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, oh, the special effects were actually done by Tom Savini. I know that'll make a lot of you happy, and they are very, very gory. So gory, in fact, that either Siskel or Ebert walked out of this film during the screening from one scene in particular where a man gets his head blown off. Like, it's very realistic, and it's shot sort of slow motion almost, so you see everything, and it's disgusting. But a lot of people like that. I thought it looked really good. It was gross. Tom Savini actually makes a cameo in the film as well, which is fun because he plays kind of a sleazy cheese ball kind of disco guy. Actually, his name is Disco Boy, so that's pretty funny. And according to IMDb, it said that Tom Savini actually based a lot of the gore effects, specifically the shotgun blast to the head, from things he saw when he was over in Vietnam. So that's kind of interesting. Kind of creepy when you think about it. This film was shot mostly guerrilla style, which if you don't really know what that means, it means they didn't have a budget. So they couldn't pay the city of New York to film in locations. They couldn't get permits. So what they did was they put their equipment in the car, drove out to whatever location, set up really quickly, got their shots, and got the hell out of there before the police came by and told them to get out of town. Or before they got arrested. Also, another thing which is interesting in my notes here, it says that Tom Savini used one of the corpses with the dead body type, you know, dummies or what have you. He used was one he called Boris, and it was used extensively in Dawn of the Dead, so that's pretty neat. Okay, like I said, it's super low budget. I think it started out with about $48,000, but they invested that money into the stock market, and it grew to $135,000. And then they received even more money when Caroline Munroe's husband invested. I think it was about $200,000 or something like that, as long as the stipulation was Caroline had a part in the film, which she does. And she's very beautiful, and she doesn't play the world's oldest high school student like she did in Slaughter High. Okay, this is a pretty funny movie in the fact that my favorite scene, of course, involves this disco hooker that he picks up. She's great. She's got this crazy outfit that I would totally wear. It was like black ballet bodysuit, fishnets, and then like, I don't know how to describe them, like sparkly disco short shorts. It's so trashy, I love it. So anyway, he goes on a date with her, and she takes him up to the motel, and he doesn't want to sleep with her. He just asks her if she would model, and she's like, model? And he's like, yeah, will you model for me? Like in the magazines? Yes, like in the magazines. So she walks around and she poses, and she does these weird 1980 modeling poses, I guess, or what she thinks a model does. And then she tries to take her clothes off, and he's like, keep your clothes on. And she's like, oh, okay, I like it like this. So that's my interpretation. I need puppets so I can do it. Oh, keep your clothes on, okay. So anyway, what's funny about that scene, besides the awesome outfit and the just strange, bizarre dialogue that's going on, he murders her. Sorry to give that away. But you knew it was coming. And when she dies, I guess, I don't know if they couldn't get her to sit still enough, because it's actually hard to play dead, you know, especially with the cameras close to you. You can see someone breathing and everything. So they either ran out of footage or she just couldn't be dead enough. So they just, it was almost like a still photograph of her dead, and it like showed it once, which is bad enough. And then it cuts to him, I think, and he's like saying something like, "Why did you make me do that?" And then it cuts to her again. It's the exact still shot. It's very static. It's very weird. But I laughed out loud. I just thought that was hilarious. I needed to see that part because the movie's actually pretty intense. You know, it's low budget, but it's well done. I mean, the story and everything else, it's pretty good. Okay, so as I said, he's scalping these women, he's murdering them and scalping them, which it shows it. It's gross. If you don't like gore, don't watch this movie. He takes their scalps and he hammers it to these weird mannequins, and he talks to these mannequins and sleeps with these mannequins, and then he gets bored with these mannequins and then he has to go kill again, and it's just this weird pattern and this cycle of destruction that he's in, and he's losing his mind even more so, and it's just, oh, it's out of control. So he ends up in the park one day, and this woman takes his picture, and he's like, oh, and then she leaves her bag or something, and he goes over and he finds it, and he gets her name, which is creepy, and then he brings it back to her apartment, which is uber creepy, and then he finds out it's Caroline Munroe, okay? She's playing a possibly bisexual photographer. We're not sure. It's sort of implied, but it's never really, it doesn't ever say for sure. So it's kind of a risque role, and like I said, she's a very beautiful woman, really good actress. She's better in this, I think, than in Slaughter High, but of course it's better material, so what do you expect? So anyway, he, instead of just murdering her right away, for some reason, there's something about her he really likes. So he starts hanging out with her, and I guess they're either dating or they're just friends, I'm not sure. You know, she could just be a carefree type of girl who just hangs out with anyone, even murderers. But he goes to one of her photo shoots, and he sees a girl there, one of the models, and by the way, the modeling is funny again, because they're just like, anyway, it's weird. I've never seen modeling like that before, it's just strange. But Frank Zito sees one of these models, and for some reason it clicks with him, and he's got to scalp her. So he like steals some of her jewelry, and then somehow he finds where she lives, and he goes to her house and he murders her too. And he chops her up, and then he goes to her funeral. What the hell? He goes to the funeral with Caroline Munroe, who's playing Anna. So what the fuck? It's weird, okay? So then they go to this funeral together, and then the next day they're like, "Do you want to go to the movies?" And wow, let's go to the movies, because that's what I want to do after I go to a funeral. Makes perfect sense, right? So they go to this, so he picks her up, Frank picks up Frank picks up Anna, and they're driving to the movies, and he's telling her, "You mind if we stop by the cemetery?" Okay. She's like, "Sure." So they go to visit his dead mother that he hates, and he starts hallucinating and freaking out. It's kind of cool actually, because, spoiler alert, he has this weird vision that his mother comes out of the grave and starts choking him, and he's like, "Oh my god!" But it's really weird. But a little trivia, that body, the body of the mother, I think, was actually this dead body, stunned body of Betsy Palmer from Friday the 13th. So Tom Savini worked on that too, so he had that body as well. So he's recycling bodies left and right! Tom! So anyway, so it's just crazy, like all kinds of weird stuff happens, and he attacks Anna, and she gets away, thankfully, and I guess she tells the police or something. So the next thing you know, Frank goes back to his apartment, and then all of a sudden he's really freaking out. He saw his dead mother try to attack him, but it was a hallucination. And then all the mannequins in his, spoiler alert again, in his collection, they all start coming alive, and it's kind of cool. Like, they come after him, and they're like pulling at him on his bed, and he's like, "Wah!" And they're getting, it's vengeance, and they're just, "Ah, we're gonna kill you." And I love it because I like when a woman scorned comes back and kicks guys' asses. So all these dead hookers are coming up and ripping him apart, and then they pull his head off, and I don't know how, but it came off really fast. I'm not sure. I've tried to pull someone's head off before, and it didn't seem that easy. It's really attached, so I'm not sure. Anyway, I won't tell you the rest. That was most of it, but I recommend it. I give this actually 4 out of 5 stars. I mean, it's not super cheesy, but it's actually a really good movie. It's low budget, so you have to deal with that. But the storytelling is well done. The scenery is cool. The way his apartment is set up is really interesting. It reminds me of Bava's lights, you know, Argento kind of cool stuff like I'm trying to do here. Anyways, it's kind of artsy, so it's cool. Oh, another funny, interesting fact. You know, the title song, they had a title song for this movie, Maniac. For some reason or another, they didn't use it. So the words got changed, and it became that famous song, Maniac. You know, the one from Flashdance. So I don't know if that's true, but that's what it says on IMDb. So I'm going to say it's true. It's got to be true. It's on the internet. Oh, also, another thing. They're remaking this film, or they have remade this film. They're doing like an haute horror. I can't say it, I'm sorry. I took French in high school, but basically, haute, like haute couture, haute, I guess, H-A-U-T-E. Horror in French, horreur. I don't know. I'm terrible. Just don't even. Whatever. Anyway, so they're doing it. That's what they're calling it. This artsy-fartsy French horror film, remaking it. Director Frank Calfoun? Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I don't know. They're remaking it with Elijah Wood, of all people, and the way they're shooting it is a complete artsy-fartsy point of view, so you don't really see Elijah, I guess, the whole time. You're just seeing him when he sees himself in a mirror or something. I don't know, that could either be really cool or could get really annoying, you know what I mean? So I don't know, you guys check out the remake if you want, or maybe I'll watch it later, and I'll let you know what I think. But for the original Maniac, 1980, I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I think it's really good. You should check it out and let me know what you think. Alright, I'll see you guys next week, and thank you again for watching. Mwah! I'm Bianca Barnett, and this is Watch These Films. Bye, love you.
Yeah!